of minorities who are astonishingly driven scientists. And today, I just want to welcome you to another episode of M.A.D Mondays, where we interview individuals who are in STEM fields. And we ask them about their career, their passion, and also ask them questions about what type of advice that they would give to students who are pursuing a career in STEM. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Jocelyn Gordon. Say hi, Jocelyn.
Hello.
Alright, so Jocelyn and I have been in contact with each other since the beginning of this year. It's like January or February, right?
Yes.
We met through a mutual friend, and then we just went back and forth, and I can just feel Jocelyn's passion for students. So let me tell you a little bit about Jocelyn. So Jocelyn is a Winthrop alum. She graduated from Winthrop 2 times, actually. And she majored in biology. She's also from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And so Jocelyn now has been teaching for over 17 years. And so she teaches AP and IB biology. So you just want to add anything else?
I would just like to say that being a STEM educator, it has been a great experience for me. There are so many parameters that have actually gravitated my desires to become who I am today. It actually started when I was, I'll say a child, honestly. And the funny thing about it is when I think about it, it was in the kitchen.
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen.
So what was you doing?
Cooking.
Cooking?
Yes, cooking with my grandmother.
Okay.
And it's amazing because a lot of times we say there is no correlation between home and science, but that's all home is. And that's something that I tell my students and anyone that I come in contact with is that you are science. And they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's honestly true because cooking in the kitchen with my grandmother motivated me to realize, one, that I can make food just as great as she could. Definitely told that she was sitting here beside us, but learning how to do things in reference to measurements. The unique thing about my grandmother was that she didn't use a measurement. She had a cup, and that was it.
Okay.
And she would use that cup, it was a brown cup, to cook everything. And she would say, get the cup, and I would get the cup. And she also did things to taste. And so she taught me from that how to gauge and look at things and process it that way and love it. And so what I mean by that when I think about science is it's like cooking your favorite recipe. And if you look at it like that, and because we all have to eat, we all enjoy eating, I hope, you're going to gravitate towards something that is meaningful and something which you desire. And so I try to take every day of my life that I have to motivate my students to pursue it from that perspective. Enjoy it, find meaning in it, and purpose.
Okay. Well, that's good. I hear you talk about your students. So what has teaching your students taught you?
It taught me, being an educator has taught me so much. So one thing I don't tell a lot of people is my actual career began in church as a children's church teacher. And so that was actually what helped me to come out of my little box, because I used to be shy. But working with the kids at Pioneer Zion Church, where I grew up at here in Rock Hill, with my sister, every Sunday, oh my goodness, with those kids, we would actually plan lessons for them. We would go to the dollar store and get them coloring books and also little prizes to motivate them, and ask them questions and give them quizzes. And so those were some things that kind of helped me realize that I wanted to work with kids. So at that point, I was like, okay, I can get this teaching thing. And with the STEM part, I already had that piece because growing up, my grandmother kind of let me do whatever. I was one of her favorites. I'm not gonna say favorite because my sisters have told me that I wasn't her favorite. I was one of her favorites, and I'm okay with that.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know. However, needless to say, I would definitely say that that piece kind of helped to orchestrate me. So I always tell my students that as long as you start out and have something that actually motivates you in reference to, you have somebody who is there for you. Or even if you don't have like a mentor or someone you can talk to, you always have a confidence and you can share it with them. Or like with me, being the youngest, sometimes I was a little loner and a little different, and they would tell me that too. But I harvest who I am today through educating myself by going out and reading books and deciding upon the way kids act and looking at what their needs were. And that was actually orchestrated through not my training in college or through my experience as a student myself, but when I first started teaching at Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. I started out teaching at Philadelphia Academy Technology High School, and through that's where the students taught me a lot. They taught me what to say, how to say it, what not to say, because I had just graduated from Winthrop and my vocabulary was up to here, and their vocabulary was here, and they were like, oh no, you need to take it down and meet us, and I was able to lift them up, and so it was the best experience ever. I wouldn't change it for the world. That is one of the best things ever, is when teachers learn from their kids how to meet them where they're at, respect them, and they learn from each other. And so a lot of times teachers think, oh, I did this, but you can't do anything unless you build that relationship and that rapport with them. And so they taught me to pretty much, get to know them, respect them, and don't look at every single moment. You have to really and truthfully embrace them every day you have with them. So don't take it for granted. And so as an educator, I go in and the energy I have, they look at me and they're like, who is this lady? But my energy is,
and you can definitely
100 plus.
Yes.
And I don't care what time of the day it is, and they're looking at me like, where did this energy come from? It sparks when I see them, and that is who I am. Like, they motivate me. They're my motivators. I can be like tired from staying up all night, reading their work, reading something they did, but when I walk in that door and I see my students' faces, I light up and I forget about it.
And that's what I love about you, because even when we were talking on the phone, you guys, even through the phone before even meeting her, I can feel that she has a passion for helping your students. And we were talking, and there was one thing that you said was that you find that a lot of your African-American students, they don't try to take that initiative to push themselves and actually want to do better. And so how do you deal with that? How do you help them? How do you at least light a fire in them to want more?
So one thing I've noticed, and I've noticed this over time, is that a lot of African American students are hesitant when it comes time to register for the upper level courses. And I feel like, I don't know why, to what extent, here at Rock Hill it is, but I've done some research on it, me being who I am, a scientist, of course. And so what it seems like is that it's fixable. And let me say that because the first thing a lot of people say is, oh, it's a nation issue. I'm one of those people, I don't take no for an answer. I'm going to try to figure out what is the issue. I deal with it from this level. I try to reach out to the parents. I try to reach out to the student, and I try to motivate them and let them know that you're in high school now. It's best to get that foundation now, so when you go to college, it will make it just that much more simplistic for you. Because if you get it now, life will be so much easier. The one great thing about being here in Rock Hill Schools is that we offer our kids the best education ever. And I know some people probably would think, oh, what is she talking about? Oh, we do. Our kids get the absolute best education. They're going to be ready for that next level. They just need to go ahead and be willing to put forth that effort. I think a lot of times students just want to graduate. They're ready to graduate and walk across the stage. But I always tell them, you got the rest of your life to be proud. You have the rest of your life to work a part-time job. You have the rest of your life to focus on whatever it is that has pleasing to you. But right now, I need you to focus on what is in your face, and that is exposure, experience. So you can get some expertise in those areas. Because what I don't want from you is to go to college and not have that. I've had so many students in the past send me emails and say thank you for what you did, because I was prepared for college. I was prepared to whether my career or not. I appreciate that. And those are the things that I like to hear, but I don't have to hear that. Because one thing I always do is I'm reading and I'm trying to figure out what are, some of the best practices. And then I also go in and look and see what are some of the current textbooks the colleges are using. I have conversations with my friends who are professors at different colleges to see what are they doing. I also talk to students who are in college to say, hey, how is that chemistry class going? What are y'all doing in that chemistry class? So I can understand what instructional practices are taking place to make sure that my students are getting that, if not better, at high school. So I'm not going to let them fail themselves, and I want them to understand that I will do all I can to help them. And so absolutely, I tell them that. And they get all that and some more, because I want to see a diverse group of kids in all courses, because diversity is the key to us being able to compete with the rest of the world. And I always tell my students that. I say it's bigger than Rock Hill, it's bigger than the United States.
Right.
It's global, and sometimes people look at me and think I'm crazy, but I'm really speaking from the heart when I'm talking about that, because I know what the articles say. There's not a day go by that I hadn't read a journal article. My husband busts about that every day. He's like, girl, what are you doing? I'm reading. I'm highlighting when I'm reading. I'm thinking about it. There's more competition, a lot of times people think just because they hadn't had that experience previously, they're not going to be good. Oh, I had a bad experience with biology 1 teacher or a chemistry 1 teacher. It doesn't matter where you start. And that's another thing I tell them. It's all about where you finish. And don't let someone's attitude or demeanor choose your destiny. Because that is something that if we do that, you'll never become who you're destined to be. So you're going to stagnate your future.
And so, being that you are an African-American woman, and you know how hard it is for your students, how hard has it been for you? Have you faced any types of discrimination, whether that be in undergrad or in your career?
So I will say to you, I'm the type of person, and you probably think she's crazy, but I have experienced some discrimination as an undergrad student. But honestly, I didn't take it hard because being who I am, my mom raised me to not be a quitter, and she raised me to know who I was at an early age. My grandmother did as well. My grandmother, who was Canadian, African-American lady, her hair was like straight in. I mean, we have Caucasian people in our family. I can't explain it no other way. So I am who I am, and and this is my maternal side, my mom's side, and my grandfather, he was Indian and African American. That's who he was, and this is who I am. Take my mom's genes and my father's genes, put that lineage together. I am just me. Some of my family members, you can't tell who they are. We are all different shades, and we want to be. But and so they raised me, because it was a village, to don't be offended when someone is ignorant and unaware of how they're treated. Because when it's all said and done, the only person who has control over the choices and decisions that want to actually pretty much control your future is you. So how your reactions are to that person will have a bondage upon where you go. So if you act crazy, and what I mean is irrational because they've said something that has really hurt your feelings or your culture, that could stagnate you, get you locked up at that point. But you still be honest and be because what goes around comes around. And so I've pretty much been able to survive with that mode. I graduated from and I went back. And I went back.
Congratulations for that.
Yes, and I was like, I will not be defeated. And so what I'm saying from all of that is, with me, I'm a little different from the average person. When people try to do things to hurt me, and this is what I tell my students, when people try to do things to defeat me, or they say I can't, I show them how much I do. And I'm not a quitter. And so I just smile and say, okay, it is what it is. It's a small thing to the giant, like my husband always said. And that's one thing he's taught me. He's like, you do whatever you want to do. And we've been married for 17 years now. And I have done absolutely everything I wanted to do. And I want my students, and I say my kids, because I'm talking about my students, to be able to embrace and do what they want to do. And I know that we say STEM, this is what is like the 21st century pathway for them to have opportunities unheard of. But what's hard to my emotions and my current mindset is the fact that African Americans, males and females, and also Caucasian women are not gravitating towards it. That's where the money is at. So why are you not pursuing that? You can make money and not live in poverty. You have the mindset to do it, but you choose not to. Because you don't want to have a lab that may cause you to spend a little bit more time. Don't let that hinder your future. Put in that time now, and it will pay off later. Because honestly, I did not have a life when I was in undergrad, but it was well worth it. There was days that my husband, who I am married to now, would have to wait on me at Winthrop, because I had to go, because I didn't live on campus. I stayed home to get out of the lab because I had to go back on campus, and it was not as organized as it is now. I promise you, my key card never worked. We had to kind of open up. But needless to say, I want students to know that they can do but they have to be willing to put that time and effort. It's a lot. But when it's done, you're going to be able to help others. And that's what we need to do as a society. And what I mean by that, when I say society, I mean Caucasian, African-American, male, female. We all need to get together as a village, and we need to help each other, because now we're fighting against the rest of the world, and we're behind. And so many different entities. And the data supports everything else. And until that happens, we're going to forever be behind. And that's where my passion comes in. So my goal and aspiration one day is to be able to help others more than what I do now.
And I like that you answered it, because I had the question, what type of advice would you give? But you already answered it. So
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. And we were talking before, and you said that you have plans for actually taking that initiative to help your students. So what are your upcoming goals or plans that you want to initiate into your school?
Well, there are some goals that I would love to do. I have desires to hopefully in the future start a national science organization. That's one. I also would like to see at my school that we have possibly summer opportunities where we can kind of have like summer internships because you hear about a lot of times the students leave and go to internships during the school year, but it would be great if we could have summer paid internships. We have so many companies here locally between Fort Mill, York, and Rock Hill that I feel like it would be a great way for us to kind of build that partnership and pursue that, where we're having opportunities for our students to have that exposure experience, and that would allow for them to realize that I can do this too. And that is mentorship, and that is building self-esteem and realization. And so if we start, the earlier we start, the better off we are. So I see some things that are taking place more like at the middle level, but I need to see it happening at the high school level, and I would like to have it happen consistently. So those are some things that I see hopefully taking place in the future. One thing I didn't say earlier when you introduced me is that I am the science department chair at my school, Southwood High School. I've been there, so this will be, I think, like the 13th year at Southwood. So, yeah, and so since I've been the science department chair, I've always tried to do something different. One thing that I've been able to do since I've been there is that Greenwood Genetic Learning Lab comes to the school at least once a year, and that's something that allows for the students to be able to have that STEM exposure. And so it was hardest from me doing research as always, and I found it. I actually went to Greenwood and spent the whole week taking a course there. I also was able to go in 2012 to Princeton, New Jersey, to Princeton University, and I spent 2 weeks doing molecular science research, and so that was fun through the Howard Hughes program. And so I've done some things, but I'm ready to do more. I'm the type person, I get bored very easily, and I think that once we're able to kind of start doing some things here in Rock Hill, we need that. And not in just Rock Hill, but we just need it in South Carolina. I feel like if we start here, because a lot of other states have it. Because that's another thing I've done in my free time. And I guess a lot of people probably think that's crazy. But I realize that other states have so many avenues for their kids, but we're lacking it. So I would love to see Rock Hill become a hero, become the example.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Like, I love your passion. I love just the energy. I love the love that you have for your students, and also the love that you have for research. I really love that. Are there any other types of tips, advice, just anything that you would give to students who are coming behind you and who would love to pursue a career in STEM?
I would say don't quit. On the worst day, remember there's someone else who's dealing with it worse than you are. Always ask questions, investigate, communicate. Communication is the key. I tell anyone that. I think a lot of times, and networking is a big thing. And find a mentor. I think also high school is the time for you to get that foundation. And what I mean by that is a lot of times some students try to take the easy way out, take the easy classes. No, challenge yourself. It's well worth it. Because when you get in college, it'll be a breeze and you appreciate it. A lot of my students, they appreciate me after the fact. And I always tell them it's a love-hate relationship, but remember, I really care for you because I know what it's like to be in your shoes. I'm not going to do anything to hurt you. I'm going to do something to build your intellect. And right now, we are really going through this great educational transformation. And they really need to take that time to think about what do I want to go into as a student to major in, because I think sometimes some students just say, I just want to major in this, and just say I have a degree, instead of majoring in something where they can really truthfully harvest that career that is going to make a difference, and then allow them to be able to make money also. And one thing I forgot to tell you too is once you finish and acquire those actual attributes, keep it going. You mentor someone else. Like I said, keep the village going. Don't stop. Don't keep it all to yourself and share. I'm always helping others. And not one time do I tell them, because I don't need that gratification. I do it, and I do it without you. And so I would tell students who are in college, if you can help someone else, help them. Now don't get yourself in trouble. I'm not illegal. Now let me give you that word of wisdom. However, but because your blessings will come. And remember, it takes a village sometimes to get where you need to be.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. I really hope you guys enjoyed this conversation today, and I also want to thank you, Jocelyn. We finally had the chance to meet in our interview. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming. And you guys, this concludes our episode of M.A.D Mondays. Please make sure you like and just let us know how you like it. So, bye.